Hi, fourth graders. Today we are going to do an art project with clay. Before we get started, I want you to think about books you've read where the story was in an imaginary place. Now think about an imaginary place that you would most like to visit. How do you picture the setting? Close your eyes and imagine how this place would look. Be descriptive. Next, think about fantasy creatures you've heard of. Things like a dragon, unicorn, minotaur, griffin, phoenix, or mermaid. Think about a fantasy creature that would live in the imaginary place you thought about earlier. We are going to use clay to create the head of our imaginary creature. Here are a few examples of creatures that I've made. This one is made with the air-dried clay. You will need a small cup of water. I am using a clean yogurt container. If your work surface is wood, you will want to place something on the surface to protect it. An old piece of fabric, like I have here, some cardboard, or even some paper will work. You will also need the paper bag, marked clay that you picked up from school. Inside the bag, you will find a ball of clay, a skewer, a craft stick, a paintbrush, and 3 paint pots. You can set aside the paint and the paintbrush. You will use those another day. We will be using air-dry clay since we are not at school. That means we will not be firing it in the kiln. Instead, it will harden and dry in the air at your house. Take the clay out of the plastic bag. Remove a small portion of the clay and set it aside. You will use this to create pieces you want to attach later. Things like eyes, tongues, teeth, horns, etc. Roll the larger piece into a ball. Once you've done so, use your thumbs to gently press into the center of the ball, slowly working your way around and making a bowl shape. Now you want to think about the shape of your creature's head and work on forming that shape. Be careful not to make the clay too thin. It should be at least 1/4 of an inch or close to the thickness of your pinky finger. If it gets too thin, that's okay. Just form the clay into a ball and start over. Once you have created the shape, you can lightly scratch your initials and the year on the bottom with your skewer. Be sure not to press too hard or go too deep. We just want to scratch the surface. Now that you have the shape of your head, it's time to create the details. Use the other piece of clay that you set aside and decide how you want to use it, whether you'd like to make eyes, horns, tongues, teeth, and start forming them. When making eyes, I like to roll the ball, and then I like to use the flat end of the skewer to make the pupil. It also allows air into the large ball, and it dries more evenly and quicker. When attaching a piece of clay, we want to remember to do our scoring. We're going to make hash marks on the bottom of our piece and also in the location on our creature where we'd like to attach it. Get a little bit of water, dab it on, and gently press the two together where the hash marks are. This will create kind of a Velcro or glue and hold them together. You'll do that for any pieces that you wish to attach. Please note that if you're going to attach a piece like a horn or a tooth, something that typically is fairly small, you want to make sure that you have a good wide base at the bottom, the part that will attach to your creature. It gives you plenty of space to make your hash marks and a good surface space to attach onto your creature. Dab it with a little water and gently press. I like to support the bottom with my finger. You also have the option of adding some detail with your, oh, I did not attach that all the way. Let's get it back on there. You can add detail with your skewer or with your craft stick. The craft stick makes nice looking scales. You can gently press in with it. You can get a nice effect. You can also etch into it with the pointy side, and then you have your flat round side. So once you have your creature formed and everything attached, you're going to want to set it somewhere safe to dry. A wooden surface is not the best choice because the moisture could damage the wood. Make sure you place it someplace safe. It will take 3 to 4 days for your creature to dry. I hope you have a wonderful time creating your creature pinch pot.